Well, welcome everyone to our webinar, Boosting an Audience. We're going to get into the weeds a little bit, so bear with me. We'll start out general and then get more specific as we move along. So a little bit about me. I am Paul Gregory Media's social media manager, and I have 5 years of professional social media management experience. So first, let's take an opportunity to get to know you. Just pop in the chat where you're tuning in from the comments. And Marissa, if you could share whoever comes through. I am currently in beautiful Dundee, and it is sunny and refreshing.
Oh, wow. We have Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, welcome, Kansas.
Glen Ellen, Harrisburg, Illinois, Joliet. Awesome. Kind of all over.
Beautiful. Lots
Great.
of folks from around our neck of the woods and Kansas. Welcome, Kansas, to the party. Okay, so first we're going to start real basic, and that is, what is a Facebook boost? So boosted posts are technically ads that you create from a post that has already been created on your Facebook page. But like Facebook ads, you can manage boosts and track performance via the Facebook Ads Manager. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the differences between a boost and an ad later. But for now, know that we're focusing on boosts today because they are the most efficient in regards to the time they take to create and the time they take to manage, and also edit when necessary. So this is a great place for flexibility and general time management. So let's talk a little bit about boosts. They are considered the simplest way to advertise on Facebook, but don't let that fool you. It is simple, but it's very simple to make a boost happen, right? It's as simple as being a page manager and clicking boost post. The intricacies of a boost, however, take a little more thought behind them, and you need to know what you're doing to make the most of a boost. So while it's very easy to hit the boost button, that doesn't guarantee the success of your ad, because Facebook's AI is still AI and it doesn't know your business as well as you do. Boosts are not created in the Meta Ads Manager. If you've ever tinkered around on your Facebook page and you found the Ads Manager, Business Manager, you'll notice that it's fairly large in regards to the options you have for customization and management and analytics. What's nice about a boost is that you don't have to go to the ads manager and really get into the weeds in order to make them happen. You can place boosted ads or boosted posts both on Facebook and Instagram because Meta owns both platforms. So you can advertise on both with a boost. A boost will show up in your audience's news feed rather than as a banner ad. And we'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons shortly, but that is a huge pro, and we'll talk a little bit more about why. You will still be able to monitor the performance and pay for the boost via Facebook Ads Manager, so they're not entirely separate from each other. But as far as creation is concerned, you don't have to get into the weeds. Boosts are ideal for promoting brand awareness and gaining impressions. So impressions is the amount of times that your ad has been seen. They're also great for increasing your page likes, gaining comments and shares, which is considered engagement on social media. And engagement is your bread and butter. That's really where you want attention being paid to your posts and ads, because whenever someone likes, comments, or shares a post, your post will then be presented in the news feeds of their friends. So there's this beautiful cross-pollination that happens for your ad when engagement occurs. Boosts are great for increasing your page likes. And also with a call to action, you can increase visits to your website. So now when we talk a little bit about ads will say that they're great for that as well. In fact, maybe even superior. But in our experience and in my experience, boosts get website visits as well, and sometimes perform even better than Facebook ads. Excuse me. So let's talk about the pros and cons. So pros, boosts are incredibly convenient to create because they've already been created. They are this, they should be, right, a great post just in and of themselves, right? So formatted correctly for the Facebook platform, with some beautiful copy. And all you need to do once that post is up is click the boost button and select your audience, which we'll talk about in a minute. They are easy to edit and adjust budget and runtime. So if you run a boost and you pick an audience, and let's say that boost doesn't perform very well, but you love your ad and you think this ad is a beautiful ad, the graphic is great, the copy is great, the call to action is great. Well, guess what? You don't have to redo that post. You don't have to redo that ad. You can simply go in, run another boost, and change the budget, the runtime, and the audience. So it's the same ad hitting different people. And again, we'll talk about why your ad shows up in their newsfeed and why that's important. So a boost, right, is a post. So it will naturally occur in your audience's newsfeed. So as they're scrolling to see, their niece's baby pictures or, their friend's new job or wedding photos, whatever, they'll also see your ad. So they're harder to ignore versus other types of Facebook ads that occur in potentially Messenger or that occur, which can feel sort of invasive depending on the content of your ad or as a banner ad. What's nice about it showing up in their newsfeed is when done right, it will have a personal feel to it and it won't feel like an ad. It will feel like they're being informed about something, as long as it feels like a value ad. So there are some cons, right? So while they are highly customizable, they do not offer as much customization as ads, which we'll get to in a minute. But I will say, we'll get into how to customize a boost, and you might be a little overwhelmed because Facebook has made it so that you have even more options now than you ever did before when it comes to Facebook boosting. And also, while convenient, you are going to probably rely on Facebook's Advantage option for the best results. So it's not as manual. But again, with the manual option of going in and targeting, you're getting very much into the weeds. And actually, Facebook's Advantage option can be extremely helpful, even when running standard ads. So let's talk about Facebook ads. So Facebook ads are created in the Ads Manager, and they offer more advanced customization. So for instance, you can choose different ad placements such as side ads, messenger ads, even Instagram stories. They are helpful when using specific objectives like leads, app promotion, and sales. You can also create carousel ads and add a custom call to action button. You can use advanced audience targeting, which is great for app installs, website conversions, video views, shop orders, and more. But like I said, a lot of those options now apply to boosts, and they didn't before. So while you have more options for customization, you can place them in different areas. They do require a lot more legwork, especially in regards to design and copy. For instance, if you take a look at this example from Jasper's Market, we have a post, right? A standard post that is advertising Jasper's Market. And then the way that converts to a Facebook ad, in this case, is a messenger ad. So folks that fit the description of the target audience are going to receive this ad and in their messenger. And sometimes that's, you can change who gets it. But sometimes these messenger ads can feel a little bit invasive and you might actually scare away interested parties. But at the same time, depending on your product and the success of your targeting, it could be very effective. So let's talk a little more about the pros and cons. So pros, you have manual control over who sees the ad and how down to the smallest detail. And once I show you all the details involved in a boost, you might, depending on how much experience you have with digital marketing, that in and of itself may be a little overwhelming. So consider that before you start jumping into ads. There's more to do. There are more options in regards to ad placements and more options in regards to the call to action. The cons, however, are ads require more time in order to design ads for specific placements. So like I said, with a boost, you're just designing a post. You're putting up a successful post, right? But when you are thinking about different ad placements, those different ad placements will require different designs, different dimensions, different copy. So there's more legwork for a Facebook ad. It's more time consuming to create, and you must know your audience on a granular level to make the most of the highly specific audience specifications. So let's talk a little more about why boosting is important. So boosting is great because it lets you prioritize your time. Once you set your specifications, you can just watch the Facebook boost work for you. You can drive traffic to your website. You can retarget boosts based on performance. You can increase value and get the best bang for your buck, which is very attractive in regards to boosts, and we'll talk a little more about that later. And you can create awareness and attract new followers. So let's break down what that looks like. So in terms of prioritizing your time, like I mentioned, you set your parameters and watch them work for you. Once the boost is completed, which they usually run about 7 days, you can go in and see how that boost performs. And then depending on its performance, you can retarget the ads without having to recreate it. Additionally, right, we can drive traffic to our website with boosted posts, and you can determine your success of ads and track ROI. So how you actually get to find out once you boost a post, how many people clicked on the link in your ad, and get an understanding of how many people are acting on what they're seeing and going to your website to drive conversions. Additionally, you can increase your value and get the best bang for your buck because budgets for a boost start as low as $1 per day, giving you max control over your ad spend from humble to large budgets. And additionally, you can create awareness and attract new followers by expanding the reach of your posts beyond your current following and reach new customers. So that is the primary objective of a boost, is to get your material in front of new folks who fit the description of your target audience, who would be most likely to act on what they're seeing or take an interest in what you do. So I keep talking about the target audience. Well, boosts are ineffective when they are too general. So it's very important to break down who you want to reach first in order to determine not only the specs for your Facebook boost, but also the content and how you want to reach them. So some important stats to consider are that 69% of Americans use Facebook and 98.3% use the app on mobile. So your ad must be mobile friendly. So when you're making a post that is going to be boosted on Facebook, it's helpful to pay attention to dimensions for when you're creating the graphic for the ad. Facebook has over 2 billion monthly active users, and more than half of all businesses currently plan to increase their social media ad budget. So it's very important to start becoming versed in boosts so that you can stay competitive. And then additionally, in 2020, fewer people used ad blockers than in the 4 years prior. So that means that your ad, based on current trends, is more likely to be seen. So let's talk about how to reach the right people. So these are the very general questions you should ask about your target audience before you start to play around with the boosting feature. So the first thing to remember is the culture of the app itself. Facebook is a personal social platform. We like to see behind the scenes on Facebook. We like to see people on Facebook so that your boosted posts can be relatable, personal, and fit into the conversation that people are signing up for. If you want more information on how to create the perfect post, you can check out our previous webinars that are available on YouTube. And they are also free. Woo! So some questions to start before you determine all of the different options for your Facebook boost are things such as, where do they live? What do they value? How do they communicate? Phone, email, social media? What are their pain points? And how will your product or service make their life easier? What causes do they support? And what stores are they likely to frequent? These questions are going to help you determine how to present the content of your post and also how to boost it. So Based on your target audience, you have options. So again, we're going really general to really specific because that's how the boost option works. So these are your specific categories that you have to choose from: geography and radius, age range, gender, education level, occupation type, yearly income, income level based on the community, life events, interests, and behaviors. So that may already feel like, oh, that's a lot of options. Well, let's break it down. So when it comes to geography and radius, you can target countries. So as general as countries, you can target a city or multiple cities with different radiuses, which can be as specific as 1 mile and up to 50 miles. You have an age range option, but the one thing to consider is that if your ad is targeting below 18, it's going to require a special ad category, and it limits audience boosting options considerably. And then also your gender options are male or female. But the good news is if it doesn't matter and you are open to any gender identity, all you need to do is select both and everyone will be included. And education levels, schools, field of study, and undergrad years. Next, you can also choose based on occupation type. The options break down in terms of industries, employers, and even job titles. And then you can target based on yearly income or income level based on the community. These options break down to top 10% of US zip codes, top 10 to 25, 25 to 50, or top 5% of US zip codes. So let's say you're advertising an extremely luxury product, right? I think I saw a bar of soap with gold flecks in it that was going for like thousands of dollars. I didn't see this. I saw it on a like mental floss article about crazy things that rich people buy. But that ad, you'd probably want to target the top 5% of US zip codes because most people do not have the budget for that kind of luxury soap. And also you can target based on life events, such as an upcoming birthday, a new relationship, newly engaged, newlywed, recently moved. And these are only a few of the life events that you can choose from. There are even more. So that's the overview of everything you can choose from the most general level. Now let's get into interests and behaviors. So interests, believe it or not, each of these categories breaks down into several micro categories, which you will see shortly in a little video clip of the boosting process. And the behaviors also break down into many micro categories as well. So interests, we have, this is the most general: business and industry, entertainment, family and relationships, fitness and wellness, food and drink, hobbies and activities, shopping and fashion, sports and outdoors, and technology. Behaviors, you can choose based on anniversary and purchase behaviors, digital activities such as the browser they use, the operating system they use, the age of the device they're using. Also expats, so former residents of other countries, all the way down to specifically which country and where they are now. And whether or not they're a mobile device user and what kind of mobile device they're currently using. So as you start to see the breakdown, there are a lot of factors to keep in mind when you're choosing your audience options here. And that's why determining your target audience before you even start the ad boosting process is very important. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this screen recording of what it takes to boost a post. So I'm scrolling down. Let's say I'll boost my webinar. So the first thing I want to do is update my call to action. So I'd prefer that they go to our website. That's where I want more information. I'm going to make sure that the advantage is turned on for this boost. And I'm going to change the goal. I'm going to say I want more website visitors. Next, I don't need to choose special ad category, which we'll get into in a moment, because my ad does not fall under a special ad category. But now I'm going to create an audience. And this gives you an idea of how many options you have. So let's say I don't want just Naperville. Let's say I want Chicago, Illinois. And let's say I also want Naperville on my ad as well. Well, now I don't like these radiuses. Let's see if I can change the radius. So I've changed my radius for Naperville, and now I've changed my radius for Chicago. Next, we get into detailed targeting. This is where knowing your audience is really important. So I'm just going to click through all of the different sections for you to see how many options you really have in regards to boosting. So you'll notice too, we've got anniversary, but we also have away from family or away from their hometown. So people who are traveling. You also have friends of people with birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Parents, you can choose all parents or parents up to certain ages. This is a great workaround for advertising a product for children, advertised to their parents. And then additionally, you've got work. Here's what's great. You can choose from a plethora of industries. And if you want, you can even get as granular as typing in an employer. So let's say I want specifically Disney employees. I can choose that. And then let's say I want to target specifically managers. Well, I have all sorts of types of managers I can choose from. Or let's say I want an executive director. And there you go. Demographics will come up instantly for you. So I've got my demographics done. Now I'm going to go to interests. So check out all of the micro interests underneath all of these broad categories, from business to entertainment. You can even get into what kind of video games they're interested in. And then live events, what types of live events they like, what types of movies they like, what types of music they like, what sort of things do they read, right? So when we get into interests, you have a lot of options. So knowing who your target audience is and what they're most likely to participate in or be interested in is extremely helpful, because we want our dollar to go the longest way, meaning we want our ad to be seen by people who are most likely to interact with it. And that's why if we just pick a general category, maybe half of those people who will see our ad won't actually be interested in what we're promoting, right? So that's the beautiful thing about targeting on Facebook, is your ad, based on how well you target, is going to be seen by people that will be most interested in the service or good that you're offering. So now we're getting into our additional behaviors, right? So are they Facebook page admins? Are they expats? Were they formerly living in Europe? Were they formerly living in Sri Lanka or Zimbabwe? What kind of mobile device are they using? And how often do they use it? So once we've chosen our audience, then, and I'm just going to go ahead and click through some of these. Sometimes they'll give you suggestions based on your previous ads. And now you'll notice, of course, we don't want to use these because they're so general, right? They don't really apply. So that's why it's important not to just trust what Facebook says should go there. It's important to build your own audience. So once I've done that, I would have saved it. I would have chosen my budget and I would have pressed go. And the other thing that's nice too is that based on your choices, Facebook will give you an estimate of how well your boost will perform based on what you have selected. So let's say I'm running this ad for 7 days. I'm going with I've picked just their advantage audience, with which don't do that. don't pick this. Your ad is going to be seen by people in another state, which, yeah, they don't use this. Make sure that you create your own. But if I should choose this, right? Facebook says I will likely reach anywhere between 270 and 781 people per day, and I will receive 6 to 26 link clicks per day. Those are the rough estimates. Now, with my new audience that is more specific, you will notice that this number is likely to go up because it knows more clearly who you want to reach. Okay, so now let's talk about special ad categories. So you'll notice when on that boosting video that there was an option to click a special ad category. Now, special ad categories apply to the following ads concerning credit, employment, housing, and social issues, elections, or politics. So that includes, right, credit card offers, auto loans, mortgage loans, anything regarding employment, including part-time or full-time jobs, internships, professional certification programs, and even job fairs. So even though you're not specifically offering an employment opportunity, you're just saying, hey, there's a job fair, that still counts as a special ad category. Housing is the sale or rental of homes, but it also includes selling homeowners insurance, mortgage loans, housing repairs, home equity, or appraisal services. And also social issues, elections, or politics, right? Ads made by or on behalf of a candidate for public office, a political figure, also includes heavily debated social topics and social issues like advocacy for health or civil rights. Now, audience targeting for these special ad categories is limited because they are trying to prevent discrimination, right? So these opportunities should be open and available to all. And so that is one of the reasons they say you can't get as granular in your targeting. So when it comes to these special ad categories, credit, employment, and housing all kind of fall under this. They, in terms of what it looks like for you in creating a boost or an ad, is that these certain specifics are limited or unavailable. You can't choose an age range. You can't choose specific gender. You can't choose a zip code or postal code in some cases. You can't have any exclusion targeting, lookalike audiences, or saved audiences. Some interests will also be unavailable when you create your audience. Audiences based on city or pin drop locations will include an expanded radius. So if you say, okay, I have a house, I'm selling it in Naperville, right? That rate, like, let's say you want it really, really close. You only want current Naperville residents looking at this house, which doesn't make sense, but let's just play with it for the hypothetical. So let's say, okay, I want a radius of 5 miles. Facebook is going to say, no, that's discriminatory. We're going to make it much larger. And then when we get into social issues, elections, or politics, this special ad category is a little bit different in that advertisers may be required to get authorization from the country that they wish to run ads in. They also must confirm their identity, provide information about their organization, and also have ads entered into the public ad library for 7 years. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty, how to stretch your dollars. So how to maximize your boosting results, even with a humble budget. So first, you're going to want to use the advantage setting. You saw me click it in the video. That's what you want on to lower the risk of under delivery. So even at just a budget of $1 per day, lower budget should have a goal of impressions. Typically, that advantage setting can be very, very helpful. And again, impressions are how many times your ad is seen. So not how many times it's clicked on, but how many times it's seen. If your goal is to gain link clicks, right? So this is engagement, your budget should be readjusted. So as a general rule, your budget should be 5 times the amount of your cost per result, link clicks, phone calls, etc., depending. So if your cost per click goal is $5, your daily budget should be $25. Now, one thing I would like to point out here is that you can still have a humble budget and get link clicks. I have run ads personally that have been less than $1 per result. So like 89 cents per link click. I think I've even seen as low as 45 cents per link click. So there is some flexibility here. But it's just to keep in mind that if your ad is results driven, right? So you want to go beyond brand awareness, you want to go beyond new followers and page likes, you want to go beyond clicks, likes, and shares, and you really want the return of, I want them clicking on my website, then you should increase your budget. And note, you still have the option to use the advantage setting and a small budget, even if your goal is results oriented. So let's say you, you only have $5, right? So then just run it for 1 day. Run it for 1 day and see what you manage to accumulate. You might be surprised, especially if the content of your ad is extremely engaging and interesting for people, because a boost is exactly what it sounds like. It's an organic ad, meaning it started off without any money behind it, right? And the boost, the money you're putting behind it, helps to propel it forward in people's news feeds and keep it alive for longer. So let's talk about boosts versus other ad options. So we talked a little bit about how you have more control over your budget with Facebook boosts. This is because a Facebook boost can be promoted from $1 a day to $1,000 a day. Of course, you're going to see massively different results with massively different budgets. But what's nice is that you can still, with really strong targeting, reach the people that you want to reach with a humble budget. Now, if we compare Facebook Boost to something like a local magazine, right, we're looking at an ad price of about $250 or more. And then a national magazine can cost you up to $500,000. Newspapers can be anywhere between 250 and 400 plus. Direct mail, so for qualified mailing lists can cost 50 to 20K. And then finally, billboards can be anywhere between $250 and $15,000 a month. So and of course, there are downsides to these options instead of Facebook boosting, right? We don't have as much control over who is going to see it. So we can make some judgments here. There's some targeting that can occur here with what kind of customer is going to read what kind of magazine. And so we can make some assumptions about our target audience and place our ads in different magazines. Newspapers, similar. Mail, of course, we have some targeting there as well. And billboards, we can target mostly based on location. But with Facebook, you can do it all. So you can do it all on a very meager budget and still see results. So this is how to ensure the success of your boost, because like I said, you don't want to just hit the boost button and let Facebook take care of it, because your ad, specifically, Kansas is here. That's great because we're a digital event. But let's say we were live and that person or someone in Texas, right, saw the ad and realized, well, I'd have to get on a plane and I have to go to where this workshop is occurring. They're not exactly the right target, right? So you want to make sure that your money is being spent in a way that will generate ROI. So these are considerations for how to make sure your boost is successful. First, make sure that a post has been already showing success organically. Now, this isn't always the case. Sometimes you can preemptively plan a boost and you can say, well, I really want to target these people with this post, right? So you can absolutely boost that without a whole lot of evidence first. But in general, if you don't have a large budget, or you're not quite sure what to boost or what you can anticipate will be successful, if you're very new to it, wait until you see a post that is already showing success to promote that and put money behind it. Also, posts that have visual and written appeal. So both your graphic and your copy should be in a state where people will engage with it and people will naturally like it without money behind it. If you want more information about how to make a successful post in regards to visual and written appeal, see our copywriting webinar. And then also post with a clear call to action and link to your website. That's very, very important because we want to drive conversions. Anytime we're putting money behind a post or an ad, we want to see that pay off in a real way, right? So make sure that there is a very clear direction as to what they should do next to engage with you or buy your product or your service. So that means you want to refrain from boosting post to third-party content. Now, third-party content is really great for creating value in your newsfeed. But you don't want to boost that because you don't want to promote someone else's website. Also, post with too much text in the graphic, post without imagery, or underperforming organic posts. So this is a post that is boost worthy because it has an engaging hook. The information is delivered succinctly, a branded hashtag is used, and the call to action is clear, and the website is included. The post has been shared 29 times and received 181 engagements, showing organic success by comparison to other posts. So other posts on their page have not been performing as well as this one. This ranks highest, so it's really a great idea to boost it. My only suggestions for improvement are perhaps include some informative text in the visual itself, tag Disney's Facebook page, their partner in this project, and then also separate the call to action from the last paragraph here from the main text, just to give it a little more emphasis. And this boost is not boost worthy. Here's why. The call to action is a rhetorical question. So which look is your go-to? It's not a link to a website, which that's how we drive conversion. So already it's not worth boosting. Additionally, while the post is more successful than the last one we saw, It is not as successful by comparison to all the other posts on this page. So over 400 was typical, and this one has only been engaged with about 200 times. And while the message and imagery is wholesome, it's not particularly emotionally evocative to someone who's not in the Girl Scouts. And no hashtags are used and no third parties are tagged to extend your reach. So with all that being said, I know we've gone over time a little bit. I apologize, but I hope that was informative. And if you have any questions, we are here to answer them now. Just pop them in the chat. Sometimes questions come up too while you're actively trying to boost. And I will say this, Meta has some really fabulous information for helping you through any questions that may arise while you're working through it. So they are a helpful tool. Now their customer service, meh. But as far as their help articles, they could be very beneficial.
Sharon is asking, I'm in the UK. Does it work in the same way in regions across the pond?
Okay, so in the UK, you will, I'm assuming they're referring to special ad categories. Yes. So they will be different though. You'll have to, there will be some overlap, but Facebook is really trying to make sure that outside countries aren't influencing political discourse here. So that special ad category will likely still apply. Also housing, employment, age, those special ad categories will likely still apply in very similar fashions. But in the UK, it might be just a little bit different in regards to what is considered a special ad category. You may have more or less restrictions depending on the current political climate surrounding social media in the UK right now. But I would definitely make yourself aware of what is a special ad category, just so that you don't get an ad blocked or rejected. Because here's what's really fun: when an ad is rejected, they don't tell you why all the time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they will help you and tell you why, but in most cases it'll just say rejected, and then you can appeal the decision, and you can appeal it, you know, once and hope for an explanation. In my experience, the first appeal, you will get an explanation, and you can either recreate the ad to fit those expectations, or simply just, it could be just a change of pick a special ad category. Maybe you didn't realize it falls under one, and all you needed to do was click special ad category, and then your boost will be reassessed, and then it will just continue from there. I hope that helps. Also, hello, UK.
Emily's asking, can you talk a little bit more about how you use the reports you receive after boosting to help determine your future boosting plans?
Sure, absolutely. So what's wonderful is when you go into your insights, right? So if you're using, we'll just refer to Facebook analytics, right? If you go to insights, you click on content. Once you click on content, you can see every post that you've made within a certain time span, right? And that includes your boosted posts. So you can click on your boost and you can find out all sorts of good information, such as where, right, where people are seeing your ad to make sure that you are within your radius, gender breakdowns and age breakdowns. So you can find out, okay, my ad was, I wanted to reach women in their 40s, but I'm seeing a lot of women in their 20s and a lot of women in their 60s. So what about my ad? Even though I said in my boost, I want this age range, right? What about my ad is resonating with those demographics and not the one that I really want to hit? You can also find out, of course, how many times it's been shared, how many times it's been seen, etc. So basically, you want to think about your goal, right? When you're determining the success of your boost. So let's say my goal is website clicks, and let's say it's not great, right? Well, then we have the option to reassess where in my audience did I like, it could be as simple as I didn't select website clicks as my goal. I let Facebook choose my goal, right? Which is why it's very important to not let Facebook choose your goal. It's also very important to not let Facebook choose your audience. The only thing I recommend letting Facebook do is the advantage placements. That's it. Everything else, make sure you have your thumb on the dial to make sure that it is exactly what you want. And that way, too, you can have more control over those variables moving forward. So when you say, okay, I picked this age range, maybe I was too general, maybe I was too broad, maybe I have to get smaller, or maybe I was too small, right? But you only know what those specs are if you're the one who's making them. So that's how I would say to judge the success of your boost, right? Is what is your goal? Know your goal before you boost anything, right? So my goal is to raise brand awareness. My goal is to get impressions, right? That means that the number of people you get who saw it, right, is more important than link clicks, right? So you can judge the success based on that. So that's how I recommend you judge whether or not a boost is successful, is know your goal going into it. I hope that helps.
Emily said, thank you. And thanks, Mary. Great information for our social media program. Awesome. All right. Well, we don't want to take too much of your time for the rest of the morning. Thank you all for tuning in. We have this recording coming to you today, and all of our past webinars you can find on our homepage, and just navigate from there to see the past webinars. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great rest of your morning.
Thank you all.